Hello, Richmond. Hello. I'd just like to ensure that everyone's got a working sort of copy of both these apps. The way that this morning's going to run is that we're going to take you through one of the other big sort of major functions, creating something, and we're going to together create something that is going to help us add a category. Once we've done that, we're going to look at how we might delete a category, and then once we've done that, you're going to be on assisted exercises, but very much on your own. And I want you to do a lot of you to do the same thing for actors. So you're going to see the whole process from start to finish. You're going to be creating an actor service, the components that you require for actors, and you're going to be trying to make your way through all of the things that we've done with categories so far. Okay. All right. So I suppose we should start just by checking that our Swagger implementation works. Okay, so if you could all go open up your Swagger, and that's localhost should remember it by now, and we can go down and to the post category create, and we can try it out. So just everyone everyone can get to there. I'm going to add a new category called empowering. Okay, we just want to make sure that we're tickety-boo. That's an English phrase, meaning ship-shape and Bristol fashion. That's another English phrase, and I realise it's not helping you at all, but it's got some local imported flavour. And we're going to see that this will work without Angular, so that we'd be confident that, like, when we actually try and hook something in, it will work. And great, look, it's created a new category for us called empowering. And if I jump back to my categories page here, right at the bottom, I can see my new test category. So we're all happy. Okay, just want you to. So if you go, has anyone successfully created their own category yet? Yeah, very good, very good. So we know we're good to proceed, and this is one of the benefits of having something like Swagger for developers, to test things out before we even move forward. It is an interesting question. Would you ever deploy Swagger to a production environment? No, no, no. Keys to the kingdom type stuff, that, isn't it, really? Okay, so let's go through the bits. Yeah, we're looking to create we want to create new categories. Yeah. So the first thing we're really going to need is what? We're going to need a new. Will we need a new screen? Yeah. A new component. Yeah. Because we need some way of getting this stuff onto the form, right? Or into our system from Angular. So how do we? We've been doing this enough now. It's not NPM, but very, very close. Yeah, it's so if we go into our Empower Angular projects. And it's ng generate component, and what's a good name for our component? What are we doing here? We're adding a category or creating a category.
Update category.
Well, we're actually. Well, that's a good point, though, Scott. That is a good point. Scott did say update a category, and we are going to want to update a category at some point, right? So maybe category editor is the thing to call it, because that's what we're doing. We're either updating it. Either way, we're creating a new one into existence, or we're going to edit an existing one. So I'm going to go with my favourite syntax in the world, which is what? Kebab syntax. Yes, yes. Even though I would not be seen dead in a kebab shop in England ever.
Did you mean category?
Oh no, I didn't. I don't know why I'm doing that. Well done, well done, well done. So category editor. Sometimes things just fall out of my brain. Okay. Yeah. No, I wouldn't be seen dead in an English kebab shop, because I'd probably be seen dead in an English street the next day. Oh, they sell really horrible kebabs over there. Like, there's just aggregation of different animals, you know. You wouldn't be surprised if you saw the bag for it and it said incinerate only, you know. So we've created a new category editor, and as with all ng generated components, it's going to be in our project in its own directory underneath the app thing there. Right. Now, if we want to get to this now, we're in a routed app. We're gonna. What do we need to create for category editor? Yeah, we need to create a new routing for it. That's great. So well done. Yeah. So we've got to go down to our app routing module. And because of Scott's great idea to use one thing to do two things, i.e. add and update, we could probably create two routes here at this time. So the first one we want is probably something like category new, and the component is going to be our category editor component. And the other one is probably going to be category edit. And what am I going to need to stick at the end of this? Because if I'm editing something, I'm editing what? A specific category. So what do I need to put on the end of this? We've got the clues already in the routing. Yep, Scott says ID. Scott is correct. So we need an ID, and we're going to send that off to the same component. Right. Now, I'm a little bit concerned about our routing here, yeah? I'm concerned specifically that this one here is going to stop us from getting to category new, because we don't know that IDs are in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this explicit. I'm going to move these above my existing route, because the way the routes work is that it will look at the most specific ones first, and then it'll have this catch-all down here. Make sure you're separated all your routes with commas. If you've got squiggly lines, oh dear. Hello, Natasha. I'm in America right now teaching a class of 20 people. Is there any chance you could call me back at a more opportune time? Okay, darling. Yeah. I don't know. I think we break for lunch. Could you phone me around 5? No, your time. Okay, lovely stuff. Okay, bye-bye. Sorry, I don't get many phone calls, but... That's work related. I'm unemployed when I get back, so it's high on my agenda. Right. So yeah, we've got these routes now. So we've established these routes, and we could perhaps test these out and make sure that they work. So we've created this nice new path for category new. Yeah, our thing's just got the default Angular category editor works or something like that in it right now, but that's going to be good enough just to test that things are working properly. So where would we want to create a new category from logically? Think about if you were using an app, yeah, and you would perhaps able to create a new thing, where would you be? You'd probably be on a list of existing things, wouldn't you? Yeah. So we're going to go to our category list, our categories thing. Open it up, and above everything, we'll create a little link. I'm just going to use the href for now, in case anyone's got any existing problems. Href and router link are essentially the same sort of thing. It's still a route. So we're going to put category new in, because that's the route we've created, and we know that's going to resolve to our component. And I'm going to style it up so that it looks like a button. And we can do that by using the Twitter Bootstrap stuff that we've got. I like green for new stuff, you know. So that's BTN success. New. And hopefully, if things haven't completely crashed, when I go to my list of categories, I've got this little new button at the top. And when I click new, hey, category editor works. Well, I'm going to stop my self-indulgent triumph, and I am going to get back to the code so you can see what's been done. But we simply added a new category at the top, a new button for that there. And I'll see if my router link works here as well whilst I'm about it. So, yep. And while we're about it, we can test our edit route as well. Now, edit, where would you expect to see an edit button?
Right next to the original category.
Yeah. I mean, we could put it here. We could have an edit button off to the side here for every category. Or we might choose to actually put it on the category detail, you know. But I think edit is probably best served here. I do want to sort of say, in a normal app, yeah, you wouldn't just allow any old user to come in and create new or edit categories. You know, normally you'd have a security framework sitting on top. I don't want to get bogged down in that. So we are going to put in an edit button at the beginning, at the end of every line here. So another a router link. What should my router link be? Anyone want to guess? Put their recently reviewed Angular knowledge to the test. We've got our clue in our right. So category. What's the next bit I put in there? Edit. And which category am I editing? The one relating to category ID. Great. Oh. And it's just going to say edit. And again, we're going to style it up like a nice little button. And I'm going to get rid of this so that people can see. class button, and then we'll give it a different color, button primary. Ooh, 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 I don't really like that, you know.
Should have us do that. Other side of it. Man,
What's that?
it would look better if it was on the other side of the action.
It would, yes, I think it would. So maybe we move that and see what it looks like there. Do you have the same sort of situation in the US where recruiters are sharks that you have to swim with just to get work? Yeah, it's strange how a few things change. Right, so let's have a look and see what this looks like. I mean, I think we can probably come up with a better look for it, but right now we're just interested in testing stuff, okay? So will our edit thing route to, yep, both of those are routing to our new component. Superb. So whether we want to create a new one or we want to do an existing one, they're both routing there, and our routes work. And we've also regression tested. Does anyone know what regression test means? I have no expectation, but it's something that's used in the industry all the time, right? Well, regression test, right, specifically means, yeah, when you do some new stuff, you make sure the old stuff isn't broken, yeah. So we've already done that. We've clicked into our category detail. We haven't messed that up with the routes. We can still do all the stuff we used to do. So that is a very simple example of a regression test. You'll hear that jargon out in the real world, so just be aware of it. It just means, essentially, did I break anything through, you know, the creation of new work? So that's great, but we are going to need a means to edit the form. So what are we editing or creating? The clue is in the name. If we have something editor, what are we editing? Yeah, okay, yeah. I'm sure I'm making some things harder than they need to be, but yeah. Right, so I'm going to close everything down. I'm going to open up my category editor. The TypeScript component. Right, so we've got a little bit of work to do here to get it ready. So what do components use to do their work? Where do they get their data from? Where do they hand things off to? No, it's something else. And we get. Maybe I'm not asking the question in the right way. Maybe I am flummoxed, another English word, by the phone calls and communications that I'm getting in. We need to inject something to help us do the components work. We've injected this same thing into some of our other category components. What do we need to inject?
Service.
And what service? What's this dealing with?
Our category service.
Excellent. We need to inject a category service. And what do we do if we want to make it immediately a private member variable of the component?
Go to private call in the
Scott's correct again. Put the private call in the constructor. So I'm going to get category service, and I'm going to cheat using VS Code's great code completion. I've not even imported it up there, but as soon as I start typing it, it's going to give me the option. This is why I love Visual Studio Code. And there you go, all nicely wired up. So we want to edit a category, so we're going to need to store a reference to a category in this component, okay? Right now, there's nothing on this component that we can give to the HTML because there's nothing that it can publicly touch. We haven't created any public variables that can be used for the purposes of editing or creating a category. So I'm going to create a place, a little box, so that can be held. And it's going to be a category. And what type is it going to be? Yay! See, oh, I'm loving today. And once again, I'm going to, well, I should have done that earlier, but it's, so I'm just going to pick it from my list of available options. And that's it. Whether we're editing or creating, we can store the details whatever we're doing in this place, in this variable. Right, so right now we're not going to put the edit function in, we're just going to put the new stuff in, yeah? So in our ng init, what's ng init? Anyone remember?
On page load, basically?
Yeah, on page load, yeah. So it's gonna do something. So what we'll do is, as a part of our ng init, we're just going to create a new category. Oh, hang on, this category equals new category. Okay? So it's going to create a blank category, a blank ID, or a zero ID. It's going to create a blank name, and it'll probably have a blank value for last update. But because we've done that, and because we've created this variable here, in fact, let's just let's explicitly set something so that we can category name. Oh, sorry, this category name. Check me out, making basic TypeScript Angular mistakes. This category name is Paul's faux category. Faux Paul is a very different thing. Anyone ever heard this? The idea that Paul McCartney might have died in 1967, they replaced him with a body double. It's a crazy theory. Yeah, so yeah, fall. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. That's.
Paul, there's a question for you.
Is it about Paul McCartney? Okay. Right, so, okay, we're taking this bit by bit. We're just going to make sure that our component can see the category that we've created. Well, I'm not even going to make a form right now, but that's the very next thing that we're going to... Actually, maybe we do make a form right now. So let's go back to our HTML. Category editor works. It's a bit of a bold statement, isn't it, given that it doesn't edit a category, you know? It's not really working at all. So we're going to create a form. We're going to create a div. We're going to follow the bootstrap convention. Div class form group. Label class. Or label for name. And then an input underneath. and this has got that weird syntax, ng model. And hopefully, oh, I might have some issues here. Yep. Can't bind to engine model since it is not a name. Ugh. So I've just got to do some comparison here. Syntax is not my greatest thing, so don't beat yourself up if you don't remember it all the time. I'm going into my wonderfully named Supply Lord project. Password login. That's simple enough. I messed up there then. Engine model. That looks relatively okay. Right, some other things that I forgot in my time away from here. Right, I'm just stealing this whole line and then I'm going to repurpose it. And then I'll break it down so that everyone can see it. Right, so I'm going to break this down and put it on separate lines. So first of all, we've got the type equals text. Then we've got class equals form control. Then we've got name equals category name. ng model is category name. I believe the category name part there is the bit that ties it to the model, and hopefully, hang on, it's really not enjoying this. If I stop this from working, I'm not even on the category edit detail. Am I still building even? That's something to check. There's no directive and sorry, I've just got to do some quick googling and work out why I'm being so bugged here. I've got a jolly good idea of why this might be. What did we add in our other form component? We added the forms component, didn't we? So we're going to need that to add import forms module. I think this is in Angular. Forms. Alright, now everything's broken. Wonderful. And yeah, we should be fine. I'm just going to get the necessary priming in. So we're going to bring in forms module and reactive forms module, and where's the imports? And these need to be in app module.ts, so I'm going to take them out of my component. This is the first time we've dealt with forms in here, so the cool thing is, right, I don't actually know a great deal about why that failed, but how long did it take me to suss out with a couple of quick Google searches, whack the error message in, and you pretty much have got some resources right at your fingertips. Stack Overflow, by the way, is probably the preeminent help site. There are loads of other sort of ones out there competing with it, but I would say Stack Overflow is the best. Just make sure that I've done the right thing here, and hey, we're working again. That's lovely. Yep, I'm sorry, I'm going very quickly. I do that when I get bugged out, which
I think it's start from the beginning.
Right, okay, so let's first of all, let's get support for our forms in, right? So let's go to app.module.ts, okay? And when you say start from the beginning, I take it you have got an editor module there, yeah? You've got your editor, yeah? Right. So we're saying that we want functionality from this library called Angular Forms, yeah? That's bringing the files in, and I'll comment this up so you'll know what's going on here. So all this is doing is saying bring files in so they can be used. The ng module here, our app is a module in its own right. We'll have to include it. We'll have to include forms module here to say, look, we want forms module to be available for across the whole of our application.
So the import on app module.
Yep.
Imports, I guess, says that these are the ones that can be accessed everywhere.
Yes.
Do I need to redeclare them when we're within it?
No, I don't think that. I don't think you do, and I don't think that there are many other places you can import this stuff. So once it's done, it's a one-time setup thing. I want to just jump over to my thing here and make sure that we do actually see something when we click the edit. Yay! Well, hey, I feel much better about that. So I realise we've just done a few things not helped by my own stunning incompetence. So let's get everybody caught up onto the forms thing. Have we all got a kind of form which looks like this? Okay, so I think this is the most important thing we get. So I'm going to comment this up as you get caught up. Yeah, don't put the comments in yourself because this is going to be available to you going on. moving forward. Okay, so right. So the type, that's actually a little bit superfluous. Yeah, it's text, and that's the default, I believe. Class is just a CSS class and is just about style. Category name is the reference within this reference for this form element, and it's in a couple of places. We're using it to name, and we're saying the category name with this here, we're tying it to the model. The ng model bit tells us which part of the model we want to tie it to. We don't want this box to hold last update. We're concerned with category.name. Yeah. Hello. Yeah. Anyone want to tell us what a placeholder is?
It fills in the box kind of faded so that people know what.
Yep. Yeah. If the thing's got no value, and we're gonna placeholder is just what the default grayed out text giving our users an idea of what to enter. And finally, now that I've got to provide a definition of that. Is how you spell grade over here, is it? Or is it G-A-Y-A? Yeah? You should have paid your taxes, you know. Finally, required, yeah? This is a standard HTML validation attribute, okay? It's not just applicable to Angular, but Angular says, well, do you know what, if everything else is using required, then I may as well use required too. Oh, this is all fun, but we're going to need something else. What else do we need on a form?
Before we go further, Paul, can you go back and explain again? When you say it's a two-way data binding,
Yes.
so that's saying that it takes information from our JSON package and then sends it back to Angular to be uploaded. No, so can you explain the two-way binding?
Okay, Scott's just asked me about ng model, right? And I think the best way to show ng model and the concept of two-way data binding is to just show it on the screen. Now, okay, I'm going to put the angled bracket syntax here. And we've seen this before in the heroes example. So I've got category.name, yeah?
Yeah.
That's just being output, yeah? I can't feed back into that, yeah?
Correct. And
That-
that is a way of data binding. That's sending it
yeah.
one-way data binding.
Yep. It's just being reported onto the screen. Now the two-way data binding means that if I make any changes in the thing that's there, it will reflect back in the model. We're not going back, we're not sending anything back yet, that's a separate thing, but our variable called category, its property called name, will change, yeah, as if we change the value in the form field. And we've seen this before with heroes, and that's the two-way part of it. So that's a good question, right? So see, it's changing immediately because it's bound two ways, yeah? Any changes I push in get reflected into category.name, and we can see that's true because the thing at the top is changing. So
and this is like why Angular part is so cool, right?
Oh yeah.
Like that's it. That is like why you do Angular, right?
Yep. It's there are other competing frameworks, like there's Knockout.js, there's and that's the JS framework. There's Vue.js, I think it's called Vue.js. That's quite easy for dropping into Knockout and dropping into existing .NET projects. You don't have to re-engineer everything. What's that? React is another one. You're quite correct. So yeah, there's loads of stuff that does this. Yeah, but this is basically what the user expectation is now. They don't want full page refreshes. You know, they want to be able to see, and it really does provide a great deal of instant feedback. Yeah, for very little cost. Look at what we had to do there. Tag it up with an extra couple of things, and we're good to go. Now, what else do we want on our category creator?
I have another question.
Yes. Scott's got another question.
You're going to get tired of saying that.
I'm already tired of it. There's a man I see downtown, very reasonable psychiatry rates. He's just about getting me level every morning, Scott. So what can I do for you, sir? Wibble, wibble.
What does the actual model refer to?
The model is, okay, so this is a very interesting question. The model refers to, and you can see it right there.
Category name.
Yeah, and if we look at our component, remember that we've got this thing called category, yeah? And if we look at category, we know that it's got a property called name. So it's bound to the variable and then the property on the variable. Okay?
So does the model just represent like ng model specifically?
Yeah, ng model is a bit of a weird sort of syntax of saying, look, you're going to get your data and persist your data to this thing here. It's a special keyword. It begins with ng, like every, you know, like ng for or ngif, you know. So
that specifically means two-way data.
Yes.
Always use that, but you want it to mean two-way.
There's a little bit more to it, but we'll get around to that afterwards, okay? But yeah, it's ng model is what you would use to say, right, okay, this is where you're going to find the model for your data, okay?
Gotcha.
There's some stuff around the syntax which I don't really want to get into right now, but we will look at when we introduce some of the other stuff, okay? Right, so if we go back to our category editor component and have a look at that, yeah, we can see that that's there. What else do we need on this form? Submit button, great, nice. So input type equals submit. Value equals add category. And we're going to make this look like a button. And I'll break that up again so that you can see. Anything else we might want on this form? Alright, let's just check that it works first while we're we're looking at this. So is there anything else that we want on this form? Work it through. What's on our category object? And you'll know the answer.
ID and submit.
Yeah. I don't think you'd want an ID on that form. For the same reason, I don't think you'd want a last update on that form, because those are things that we're letting the API decide for us, yeah? Like whenever we create something, it's going to go and say, right, okay, I'm giving it a new ID, I'm going to change the date of the last update. Whenever we update something, we'll expect the back end to do the last update. We don't want to allow that to be used as supplied. So really, for something as simple as category, I think we've got most of our stuff here, okay?
Do we need a delete button?
Well, we do need a delete button, but I think there's an argument to say, well, should it be here or should it be alongside on the list page with the edit stuff, yeah? Because from a user perspective, if you're managing stuff, you probably don't want to have to do tons of clicks to go down to the detail just to delete something. You'd probably want to do that off the back of the thing up there, yeah? Off the back of the list. So you go delete, delete, delete. Okay, so we know. I'm going to cheat again because this is such good syntax, right? And I'm going to get to introduce you to another construct. So I'm going to copy this form thing up here, and we'll break this down as well into each bit. Yipe. I think I might not have pilfered that sufficiently. Right, so let's break this down. The name, form, name, yeah? ng submit. What's it? Right. That's like surround sound bless yous there. That's quite impressive. Right. So let's break this down. We don't have an attempts login, right? Just yet. So form. We're giving it a name. What do you think ng submit does? Just guess. Specifically, it says what happens when someone clicks the submit button. Okay, so in this one, it's just checking that f.form.valid. Yeah, this is where the reference to f is created, so it knows which form it's validating. You might have multiple stuff on there. I'll have to check out what that means. I'm sure it's there for a reason, but we will suss it out. In my example here, yeah, we've got this thing called attempt logging. So what we need is we need a function that's going to execute when someone clicks this form button, yeah? We need to put that in our component. Our component's not going to do the work. What is actually going to do the work? The service is going to do the work. But even so, we can't see our service from our component from our markup, yeah? And we can't access it directly there. So let's create a new function called create. And I'll tell you what, just so that we can check that just so that we can check that we're actually doing something, we're not going to do the full thing yet. I'm going to create a new variable at the top called status message of type string. I'm going to take that out, and then I'm going to put this, and I'm going to, status message is going to be start with just form loaded, okay? And all we're going to do right now is when someone clicks the thing, we're going to say this status message equals button clicked, okay? We're not doing anything with our service right now because I think as things stand, our service can't even handle a create option. I don't think it's got it on there, and we can check that out just by looking at the service again quickly. I'll jump straight back. So yeah, we've got list and we've got a detail method, but we don't have anything to add anything. We're going to have to add that in a little bit. But we can emulate someone clicking our form. And we can tell our form through the markup what it's got to do if the form is valid. And that's just simply, well, form valid and create. Now, this is, I probably should explain this to you, right? Why that works, okay? It's quite, you know, it's quite scary. What doesn't? Do you know what? And what are these two ampersands here? What do they mean? Have you seen them in other languages? Yep. Okay. Oh, great. We can play Battlefront 2 at lunchtime. Anyway, okay. So there's something specific about a lot of these curly bracket languages. Yeah. It's called short circuiting. Yeah. In other languages, yeah. When they do an add and and together, they're like, say, right, okay, is this bit valid? Is this bit valid? Or is this bit true? Is this bit true? If they're both true, the whole thing's true. In C#, JavaScript, TypeScript, loads of other languages, they use a short circuiting mechanism. And what that means is, if the first bit's false, it doesn't even bother attempting to do the second thing, yeah? So if our form is not valid, it's not going to do the create thing, yeah? So, but if it is valid, yeah, it will attempt to run the create thing. Are we with me? Short circuiting operators is a huge concept, yeah? Same thing with an OR, yeah? If we had an OR up here right now, and the first bit was true, it wouldn't even bother evaluating the second bit, because if one of them is true, it's fine. So it's called short circuiting of operators. I don't know if you've covered it on your course before, but it can help, an understanding of that very simple concept can help you out and, you know, prevent you from like doing stuff that you don't have to do. So what this is specifically saying is, an OR, yeah, if the first one is true, it would say, right, that's fine, I found something true, everything's true, yeah, because I'm an OR. And the AND is kind of an opposite. If the first one's false, yeah, the whole thing's got to be false, so it doesn't even bother doing the bit afterwards, yeah. So in order for create to run, form valid has to be true. And we'll see if that works here. The only thing I want to do here now is put my status message at the top so that we can see what's going on. So that's a direct variable in my component. I just need to reference it like that. I probably would want to put it in a header of some kind. But actually, I'm gonna try the text P-class lead. That's a new Bootstrap thing, but I'm gonna put it there because we've already got enough headers going on. Right, so great, form loaded. Right, I'm clicking this. Don't know if you can hear. Right, so I'm going to put plop in. Click it now. Button clicked. Okay. Basic validation on the form. Won't even do it because of that short circuiting stuff that we had earlier. Has to be valid, otherwise it won't work. So I'm going to leave that up there. What screens do people need so they can just get their stuff in order, so we can all get to the same place on this, and then we'll start talking about the service that we're going to use to run this through.
Okay. Categories, component types still?
Categories. Wow, okay. Whilst I'm here, I'm just going to tidy my markup up. Look at that. It's disgraceful, unreadable. Par for the course.
Does it matter what order we have the two links in?
Yeah, well, only if you want your edit button to be like before your title, yeah? But no, not really. It's just the way it looks. It's an aesthetic thing rather than it's the way it looks rather than the way it works. That'll still work. You'll still be able to get to your category page.
See the category editor.
Okay, are you finished with this, Aaron? Anyone else need this? Just for a bit. Do I have to press the trapdoor button?
No.
Oh, you've got tiger-proof trousers on then, obviously.
Can you move that cursor?
Oh yeah, sorry. I'm that's not great.
So I would.
Yeah, no worries. Scott's got a question.
It's about a specific issue I'm having.
Yep.
It says that something to do with my references around routing specifically, that the object doesn't match. And it's something that comes up in C#. And I know it has to do with my routing. I can't figure out where exactly. If it's the path or if I'm sending it to something.
Okay, I'm going to go and answer Scott's question directly because it sounds a bit meta. So I'm going to leave that screen up here. Is everybody finished with this screen yet? And can we move on to another one? Yeah. Category editor component. Is that the one we wanted? Yeah. Okay. Oh, TS. Okay, sorry. That's probably enough, right? For yeah, for you to get your stuff up. I'll make sure that I'm not moused over. Right, come on, Scott. Let's have a look at you.
So this is
Is everything safe?
Should be good. Thank you.
Right, I realise I'm putting quite a lot on you. Does everyone anyone need to see anything else up there, okay? I don't think we made any changes up there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And on the imports,
No, I don't think we did. We've not done that
okay.
yet.
Okay.
Yeah. I might have made some changes, but that was in error. They don't need to be there.
Oh, the forms.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I put them app.module.ts, they're available to everything, I believe.
Okay.
So, yeah. Okay. Right, anyone else need to see anything, or are we all at this good little spot where we're prevented from entering nothing?
I'm still having issues.
You're still having issues? Let's have a look.
Can I see the category component HTML?
Yes. I'm just going to take this.
Is there a reason my Angular is coming up?
Almost certainly, but I can't be more specific without taking a look. Have you started the app?
I did.
And is it saying it's compiled and loaded successfully?
Yes, the swag came up.
No, that's not the Angular app though, is it? So, hang on. Don't copy this as is because I've messed. Right.
So NG server is what I forgot.
Yep. Is it running?
Mine didn't run with that. I got an error message. When I did my NG serve, I got like, cannot read property.
No, it's ng serve without the double minus. Double minus if you want to open. Scott, what's going on with you?
Hopefully it does. My computer finds that. It was hard to get into. 2 days ago.
Yep. Anyone else having troubles related to this project? I can't do anything with anything outside that scope.
I have an error in my
Let's have a look.
in my serve.
Right, let's go. So it tells us exactly where the error is. And it tells us what line it's on. Yeah. So 16 in appmodule.cs. Open that up. Line 16 it's not happy with. Right, okay, so we're just missing some stuff on the end there. Yeah, I think I maybe went too fast for you. So oh, flip sakes, Paul. All your hands, please start working. So you know what? We're going to use the pro tip, yeah? Again? We're going to...
Right now, I just have
I can't type these hats in, it's not a big problem. I know where this lives.
How do you look up stuff online? There's many things like if you want, especially in the there's actually on the page to slide and shit.
Now we just need to grab this little thing here, yeah? Because we need to tell your app that we want to use this forms module, yeah? And this is the bit that I got stuck on, so no worries, okay? Right, this is where I had my little error. Right? Now, I think you're compiling alright there. And let's see if it will now. One here. What's it known about? Categories, components, imported by unexpected.
You're up to date.
Forms module.
What's it?
Thank you for your message last night. Made me feel a lot better about the way that things went yesterday. Right. And this one, right? This sort of stuff. Unexpected closing tag div. Yeah? It tells us where it is. Yeah. This is real strict about stuff. Yeah? It means that we've got a tag that we never expected to find. So let's have a look at your category editor component HTML. So it's probably moaning about that because there's an extra thing there. Div class form group, there you go. I'll put that under there. Div class form group, input block text required. Look, you messed that up as well.
I thought it was like change.
And this one here. Hopefully they'll pop up in a sec. Does it take a little while for them to load, does it?
Sometimes.
Okay. I'll be back. We've still got problems. I'll be back.
Okay.
Okay. But anyone else really stuck and buried? Yeah?
Say the last few lines on that one for just a sec.
Yeah.
Never mind. Loaded. No, that's right. You're good. Go ahead. I thought there was more under roll.
Yeah. Right. So sorry, Richmond. We're back now. So we've done well so far with the app that we have. Okay. We've proven that we're not going to accept something unless it's there. We've shown what happens when it goes. The next thing we've got to do is hook into our service, okay? We don't have, our problem is we don't have a method on our service or a thing on our service which will get us the things that we need. So I'm going to just jump back into my app. I'm going to look at my category service. So we've got list, we've got detail. We can create a new function. What sort of parameters should we take in here? Nope. That man's got it. We're going to take in the entire category. We're not going to muck about throwing individual bits about it. We're just going to take in the class. Because that's what it expects. And it's going to be of type category. But if we wanted a clue as to what we would be posting, where would we look? Where's this request going to end up? How's it going to get into the database?
Into the category model of the class.
Take a look at your diagram that I put in Slack earlier on. How is that getting into the database? I'm going to get it up here. Yeah, I mean, we don't care about the C# bit of it, but it is going to be going into the API to do its work. So we're just going to go to a different API endpoint. And if we want to check that, we've already looked at it at the beginning of this exercise. What we need to do, I just want to make sure my Visual Studio is running. Yes, we're good, we're good. What we need to do is go to Swagger and just have a look at what it's about to accept. Again, this is a wonderful thing about APIs like this. You can basically create an object. So category that's not really appropriate, right? For what we're looking at. I'll tell you what is appropriate. Down at the bottom you'll see models. In fact, I need to look on this and see exactly what type of thing this accepts, because I'm not seeing the model that I wanted to see on there. Controllers, category controller. Category create requests. Now, that's the one bad thing about what we've got here. Go to that implementation. So our category create request, the only thing that it's got there is a name, yeah? So basically we just need to pass an object with just a name in it. So the same sort of thing. We can essentially, I'm just going to change this to a const. Don't worry about this. It's just me. We need to define where we're going to hand this off to. And we can copy and paste most of this. Because we're going to the same API host, which is the address of our API server. We're going to the same service URL bit, which is up here. It's category. All of our category stuff sits on an API, part of the API called category, and we want to call this create method here. Make sure you get your backticks sorted. Bethany had a terrible time with them yesterday. Not only did she have problems with her backtick, she also had to suffer some terrible backtick related jokes launched by yours truly. It's not worth it, guys. Get your backtick sorted, okay? Right. What are we going to use to make our web call? What object, what little thing have we got in our class that we're already using to make web calls? What are we using? Yep. Yep. Well, we're not going to be using get. Sorry, we're going to use this .http to be specific. Why aren't we going to be using get? If we used get, it would never get there, because the only verb that this will respond to is post. Right, so I'm going to put something in. We're going to flesh this out in a minute. I'm not going to be doing. So this HTTP post, for right now, I'm going to cheat. I'm going to use that type. What does that mean?
Regardless of type.
It will return any type, okay, and it'll be happy to return any type. But we'll come up with something a little bit better in a second. Same thing. We need to create a small object, and it's expecting this is what we're posting. So a simple object that the API can accept. And we're going to set the headers again to say this headers. And what are we doing when we say that? What specifically are we doing? Scott's correct. We're saying that we want to talk in JSON. We don't want to talk in French, German, or anything like that. JSON. That's what we're doing with our headers call. We don't want to talk in web either. As you can, whilst I'm going to break this down a little bit, why have I got this second parameter here?
The name is what it has to accept in the API.
Correct. But specifically, what was I able to do with? Scott just answered that the name is expecting that, yeah. But couldn't I add it to the end of my string like I'd done there?
That's the route path, not exactly what it is it's accepting.
Okay, well, with gets, yeah, the value goes over the query string, correct? With posts, it goes in a different way. You're posting a bunch of data as standard input, yeah. So we haven't, at no point before that, up here we've already specified which thing we're looking for, right? That's fine. We don't need to pass anything else to the GET request because it's in the route, like you said, Scott, yeah. Here we're just calling this thing create. If we don't pass it some data to say, look, this is what you create, it will not work.
Okay, so I may be jumping the gun a bit, but the update would need to do both because it would need one to know the ID of the specific one we're updating, so that's the path for what it has to get, and then it would actually have to know the update, the post, what it is it's changing.
Yeah, I'll take you through an update in a little bit, but yeah, there is that. Scott was asking about how updates would work. Updates are not strictly posts. Yeah, you can pass information on the query string, and you can also pass, I believe, other information. For our implementation for categories, we're just passing on the query string, I believe, and we can verify that by looking at our update method. See that? Everything we're passing over there. So we're passing all of that stuff on update. Yep. Oh, sorry, there's the one for category. So we're actually passing over everything. So it will have everything it needs. For a create, the only thing we need to provide it is the name. Last update is worked out automatically. The ID will be worked out automatically. Okay.
Can you go up to detail for a second? So after URL, it's giving me an error.
What's that?
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Okay. Right.
No, 1 second.
Okay. Alright, so I'm not really happy about this, yeah? I don't like that. The fact that we're returning any. It will work. It will work, but I don't like it. So, let's take a look at the Swagger API and see what type of thing we are actually going to get back from that. We're going to get something called a category create response. Yep. And it's going to give us a category of type category. It's going to give us a complete of that to let us know what time it was finished completed. And it will give us our old friends error message and has errored if anything has gone wrong. So I'm going to create something like that so that my response is type safe. So let's go into wherever we're creating our NG models. NG, we want to generate a class to capture the response. So ng generate class models category create kebab syntax response. We love that. We don't like kebabs.
Why did you put .cs at the end?
Oh, because I'm an idiot. And I type in about like tons of languages. Let me take that out. Well done, Melissa. I'd love to say, right, I'd love to have the moxie to say, do you know what, I was testing you all along. But no, idiot. Idiot. Right. No, you should not have the CS at the end.
What was that command again? NG generate
Models. Class. Models.
class models. Is it the kebab language?
Create response.
Yeah, I'll do it properly in a sec, right?
Oh.
Yeah, you don't have to put TS on the end, you just type create response. Oh, Dell, even. Right, now else work? 'Cause I can't. Alright, so that's gone. And now we'll try and do it, you know, with a tiny degree of competence and care.
And you said NG means Angular, right?
Yep, that's right. NG, generate, class, models, category, create response. Okay, so that should now be correct. And if we look at if we go back to Swagger, it pretty much tells us what we need to put in this stuff. So what properties do we need? Let me get it larger and so what is our create response going to need to have in it?
An ID, name.
No, I'd say yeah, I'm maybe conflating things there. What does it need in it?
Category completed at.
Yep. So yeah, no, that's completely correct. So what we want is we want the newly created category that we've just created, yeah, so that we can check that it's cool and maybe do something else with it, yeah. We want the completed at time. We want the error message, and we want to know whether it has errors. So let's knock our class up on that basis. So all of this is public. So we want a category, and it's got to be of type category. We want completed at, and we want to be able to type that correctly. That's going to be a date. We want error message, string, and has errored, which is going to be a Boolean. See, the benefit of doing this is we're leveraging TypeScript again. We can guarantee now that the category response we get is going to have a TypeScript category in it with all of the properties that are in it. And that's what we should be doing. We shouldn't really be relying on any or some of the stuff we've seen earlier where it's permissive enough so that it'll let you, enumerate things even if you've not put them on your model.
So
Yes, Scott, what can I do for you, sir?
we have another model on our Swagger that says category search response,
Yes.
which is like what we did with the get, right?
Yep.
We have a category results that has some of those, but not all of them.
And that's perfectly fine. Sometimes you don't want and in fact, a lot of the time, you don't want everything in your app, yeah? You don't want to take every single property. You've got to think about what you need from that, yeah? What do we need for our things? And a big part of this multi-tiered development is deciding what you're actually going to expose from your API, what you're going to put on the page. Is it worth putting all these things on if we're not going to use them? And so it's a question the developer has to ask. And it doesn't necessarily need to be tied to the internals of this API. We just take the stuff that we need.
So why would we need for this error message has errored? Oh, because we're giving it to the nats because it has to match all the way.
Yeah. Why would we need error message and has errored? Because if anything goes wrong, we want to inform the user. We want to let them know that something's gone wrong, and we want to let them know what has gone wrong. Okay? So I can go back to my category service now, and I can be a bit more intentional about what I'm getting back. So I'm going to say create response, and if I use the wonders of Visual Studio Code, that automatically gets in there.
Go back to create response.
Yeah. Can someone else, can one of my instructors, my willing instructors, help out on the create response part?
My quick response just created so I didn't get anything
Again, you really shouldn't need to use this to have this on screen at all if you're looking at the Swagger. You can see what the format of create response is going to be if you look at the Swagger stuff. You don't need this here. I mean, I'll put it here for convenience, but I don't think that you're really learning too much just by copying this when you can look at the Swagger stuff and get those fields out. So, and that's typically what you'd do if you're developing against an API. Anyone still need to see this, or can they look at their Swagger and work out what they need to put in? Because we're getting to the cool part now, where we actually so we've actually done nearly all of the work here, okay? Nearly all of it. We've written a service, we've written a component, we've hooked the service into the component, we've filled out our service method, we've got a model which will reflect the details of whether the category has been created properly, called create response, and when it was created. All we really need to do now is hook that thing up to our service and call the method. So here's what we're going to do. This category service what's the method we need to call? And what does it accept? What does it need to do its creation work? Excellent. And we've actually got one handy. It's right here. And we're interested, that's not going to run straight away, but we're interested in the results. How are we going to say that we're interested in the results?
Subscribe.
Nice. So, and we're going to use a lambda, remember, to represent the results as they come back. Now there's actually a couple of things I want to do here. So I don't just want to do the results here. I want to do something conditional, or at least show an error message. So data contains the stuff I'm getting back from category service, yeah? If data has errors, then I want to set this .status message to data status message. I don't know why people still pronounce that word differently, including me. I thought Star Trek generation, Star Trek Next Generation would have put that to bed forever. If it hasn't, and that's just a placeholder because that's not what we really want to do. What would we really want to do if we just create a category?
The category name just created, we can add it over time.
Maybe. I mean, but from a user, would you like to? If you just created a category, you don't want to stay on that page, do you?
You want to go back and see it displayed.
Yeah. So just bear with me for a second. I'm gonna. Yeah, I would say the desired thing is to go back to the list of categories so that you can see that your category is now in the list. Yeah. So that's quite simple, as long as I can get my syntax out. I think we need to use the location thing to sort this out. I just want to make sure I don't spend ages getting errored because of the syntax. Alright, so I'll select that. Alright, so app. I know that I've got components here. Cool. That's the little fella that we need. This router. Alright, so I'm going to pilfer this, but like, to be fair, I did sort of create it in the first place. And to be fair again, I probably pilfered it then as well from somewhere else. Right. So we're going to want to, well, have I got both of these up open awesome at the same time? Right, I'll just open up Visual Studio again. So on our category editor, when we finish, what we're going to do is we're going to. Whoa, what's the matter with you? Oh, okay, you're starting to moan about that now, are you? Okay, very good. I'm going to open the folder above it because I don't think I had those problems yesterday. Alright, better. So if anyone's having those red squiggly lines problems on their stuff, I think Anna was having them, a couple of others were having them. I think the way to overcome that is just to open the directory above, open the whole Empower Angular directory. So okay, I don't want to do this status message is all cool. I want to navigate somewhere, and I don't want to navigate to anything near as complex as that. I just want to go back to my categories page. So I'll just get that so it's actually visible, which might be useful. Right, why is it moaning about my router there?
Because you hadn't imported it.
That's correct. We've not brought in anything that can do that, so we can change that immediately. And I'm just going to load the one from Angular. Right. Now, I'm quite scared. I don't normally have to code for this many people, right? And I don't know if this is going to work. I think it'll work. I hope it will work. Will it work first time? Yep, 4. And use the top tip. When it suggests something, pick it, as long as it looks sensible. So whilst people are typing along, I'm just going to comment some of this up for posterity. So we're injecting a router because we want to take someone off, take someone somewhere else. On success. I'll create methods just so everyone gets it as well. Call to service. Subscribe to the result when it comes in. And deal with subscripted. Deal with results when they come in. I think the rest of this, I mean, there's not much really to explain here, right? So data is just the name we'll use for the results. Deal with the error state. And deal with the success states.
On compile, I have an error message for the subscribe here that's saying it cannot exist on a type of void.
That's interesting. Let's have a look, see what's going on. See if I get it too. Okay, well, we're going to get everybody caught up. Moo, how are you getting on? Yeah? Okay, can you help out please a little bit? Thank God. Right, I suspect anyone who's getting the void thing is not returning out of their service. So I'm going to go and check, see if I am. I'm not getting that error, you see.
I hit save on my service and it went away. So that was it. First time to save.
Not find.
Right, I'm going to see if this actually works for me quickly.
Not even.
Okay. So categories, new. Looks like I've got an error.
Yeah, everyone's getting the same error. It's cross-domain access.
Wow.
You need to allow it.
Yeah, I know, but I have allowed everything on that. Right. Let's get everyone syntactically correct, and I'll get people sorted out. Let's make sure if they're getting that error, I can sort the rest out. Okay, it's just something I need to change in the API. Pardon?
That's what 4 people have the same error.
Yes, I know, but I will get the API sorted. But it's almost lunchtime. Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's get them.
it's lunchtime.
Let's get them to the point where they're at here. Yeah. And then all I need to do is sort the cross stuff out. Everything else should be working like on that, but we might just have to.
Actually, he has this extension that fixes that problem. Just like the Chrome extension which overrides whatever you wrote. And that still gives him a model state not valid error.
Yeah.
And then he can
I'm pulling it up again.
Right, break for lunch for an hour. Yeah. See if you can get your stuff into that. We'll get the category stuff done. I will look at getting this addressed immediately. Okay, Richmond, I'm just going to sort out the thing so the API will accept it. I think it might just be a case of adding headers.
Should be good for
that is basically telling me that there is an